At ETS, here at the little after party we're having, also at IPW here in Las Vegas 2021, we have Daniel and Craig from Kayak, and I'm going to let them tell you what their positions are to start with. We'll start with you.
It's nice to meet you, and thank you so much for having us.
Awesome.
My name is Daniel Weiner. I'm the Director of Ad Sales for Kayak North America, as well as OpenTable.
Okay.
And just excited to be here. This is actually my first eTourism Summit.
Welcome.
Kayak has been coming to IPW for about 4 to 5 years now, although we missed last year, obviously, as a group. But yeah, just really excited to join the crew here.
And Craig.
Thanks so much for having us. This is actually my first eTourism Summit and my first IPW.
Two first times.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a manager of ad sales for North America for both Kayak and OpenTable.
Okay, so tell me about the family of brands. Is it just Kayak and OpenTable, or are there other parts of the Kayak empire?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Kayak actually, first off, is based in Stamford, Connecticut. OpenTable is based in San Francisco, but we are a global company. So Booking Holdings is our parent group company. Under that umbrella, you obviously are probably familiar with Booking.com. There's Priceline, Agoda, which is large in APAC. But as you mentioned, Kayak is one of the hero brands, especially as it relates to meta search, and we've been building a network of brands under that.
Okay.
And most recently, since OpenTable has a very much marketplace type business, we've combined the businesses so we operate as one, OpenTable and Kayak.
Wow, there must be a lot of cross-platform data points that one might inform another in a certain way. Is that true?
Yeah. Absolutely. And Craig can speak to this, but when we talk to our tourism partners especially, it's interesting how we've uncovered the connection between not just hospitality as it relates to travel and driving incremental tourism, but the stakeholders on the restaurant side play an important part, and it's a really affinity point for a lot of these tourism boards to reach.
Okay. It's just exciting to round out that traveler journey. They're looking for a destination, they book a destination, but then what actually happens at that point? And that's where the dining piece comes in. So it's nice to round that out.
So that's funny. That's something that I've always said, my background in tourism development, tourism marketing. Look, people love museums, they love experiences, they love everything, but when they get there, they don't have to do that. The one thing they have to do is eat, right? So that relationship there's a strong corollary there between visitation and dining because, unless they bring their food with them, they're going to have to find some place to eat.
And a lot of people choose a destination based on dining.
That is, we're standing in one right now, Las Vegas, and some surprising places. Do you have any surprising crossover points of data and information about a destination? Like, for example, I think a lot of people don't understand what a dining destination Orlando is, or even the Disney properties alone. I mean, down with the Disney Springs has 4 James Beard chefs or something. Is that something that you guys use in a strategic way?
Absolutely, and we have an events team at OpenTable that operates a lot of the restaurant weeks, which a lot of tourism boards are involved in. And then outside of that, not even just related to dining, I think it's important to mention, Kayak has a variety of verticals that we offer. So we're most popular for flights, getting to your destination, but especially during the pandemic, the car vertical has become increasingly popular. So we are trying to really approach this. We're a meta search company. We want to give people all of their options. Okay. So partners like Turo and Get Around, where it's actually car sharing, similar to what you would see on a vacation rental side, has become really popular and proliferated on our site.
That's amazing, car sharing. What's the insurance structure like on that? Do you have any idea how that works?
Yeah, so the insurance is covered by the company. So for instance, Turo, when you rent a car, you get $1 million policy, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but with the insurance.
We can edit that out later.
Another cool company we're working with is Kite, and then we also work with a company called Avail, which is backed by Allstate, and they're really focusing on the airport experience. So when you're dropping off your car at the airport, someone can rent it from you, and then you're actually making money to go on your trip.
So in Florida, I don't know if you guys know this, but in Florida they started this pool sharing service. Have you seen this? It's an app.
Oh yeah, right. I think it's called Swimply.
Yeah, it is. Swimply. Yeah, where you can rent your pool out, and all of a sudden you're having dinner, you got strangers swimming in your pool. I don't know how that's going to go. I appreciate the effort on that, but I don't know anyone who would feel comfortable doing that. I don't know. But hey, sometimes I think technology gets in front of sense. Sometimes we go too far too quickly. And arrive at things that I don't. Watch me. What do I know? Right? It'll probably be the biggest thing next year that we're talking about.
Yeah, I think there's always a time and a place, but what I noticed with that company that I think is encouraging is like the focus on experiences, and that's some of what we want to focus on going forward here at Kayak and OpenTable. How can we just not help with our audience, but actually create like a full-rounded experience to support the messaging that you're trying to get across?
Interesting. So let's talk about some of the challenges right now. COVID specifically. I mean, you know, when things freeze like they did, particularly for tourism for the last 18 months, and you are a tourism provider, and you are a tourism provider and also someone who depends on marketing to destinations. So in one sense, you don't have a product and you don't have a client, right? What did you guys use that time for at Kayak and OpenTable? Did you rethink things? Was there any internal big discussions, big idea discussions?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most interesting things that we did was, as Daniel mentioned, we have a hotel vertical. It was previously known as the hotel vertical, and we rebranded it to the stays vertical during the time of COVID because it's no longer just hotels. It's that, you know, that unconventional, that Airbnb, that Vrbo. Sure. People were kind of scared of hotels for a little while. So, you know, that had a big moment in the rental industry, and we wanted to make sure that we were going along with that and not just showing users that, hey, those are your standard hotel options, but there's a lot of really cool things out there. Maybe there's a treehouse you can stay in. Maybe there's somewhere where they share in the pool. There's a lot of different options out there.
And sometimes a lot of people would say, oh, that's a minor thing, it changed your name, but actually it's not, because it demonstrates that you rethought it, right, and how it all comes together. And that's an interesting place to be in right now, particularly when you look at larger brands like Marriott, for example, Homes and Villas, right, going directly after the Airbnb space, after the Vrbo space, using the power of people who want Marriott points, right, the one thing Airbnb really can't give them. Right. And it'll spill over. And I think, you know, I think a lot of times there's an overcorrection and then it's a settling in a certain way. It's hard for me to believe that Marriott's Homes and Villas will ever come anywhere near their brands of 30 hotels, right? But they felt they need to be in that space. Do you guys Kayak came, how long has Kayak been in business?
We started in 2004. Okay. Kayak.com was a name we picked partially because we wanted to be a global company, and it's not only a palindrome, but because of that, you can spell it when languages spell from right to left, you can spell it just as easily. So that was part of the consideration, a little fun fact.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. And how have you grown in that? Because it seemed to me like it was esoteric for so long, and then it seemed like it was everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
Like, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, someone really flipped the switch on Kayak. And is that my perception, or was that something from the?
No, I think it's accurate, and we've seen a lot of consolidation in space. We've contributed to that as well. So talking about our network of brands, there's actually 7 travel brands as part of Kayak.
Right.
So most recently we purchased Hotels Combined, which is based in Australia, which is a large meta-search hotel company. We also, a couple years back, had purchased Cheap Flights and Momondo. So our presence is not just through the Kayak brand, but also through a multitude of brands that have really become popular across the globe. And I think just another thing to your point about the pandemic, one of the things we really leaned into is, you know, Craig and I are on the ad sales team. We're charged with driving revenue, obviously driving value as part of that opportunity. But we really leaned into like how we could be a good partner. We understand the tourism industry was really, you know, going through hard times as well as we were. We cut 25% of our staff in the end of April in 2020, and there were several things that we did, including offering, you know, free email opportunities to help people like share the messaging. Maybe it wasn't like go here right now, but just saying, you know, this is a way to keep in touch. And one other thing we did was we built out a road trip itinerary opportunity where you could actually customize your own road trip on the site.
Because that's what people were doing.
Yeah, and tourism boards loved it because they were able to cater to what they wanted to show to a particular region, and we have unique targeting capabilities to do that.
So 2 things there, because I've talked with so many brands in the last couple of days, and it seems like they're all, the smart ones, have reevaluated and reprioritized their relationship with their clients, about exploring those partnerships to become truly partners. Maybe share a little more data even than you would have before the pandemic to let them understand, hey, you know, we're in this with you. We want to solve this mess as quickly as you want to. And you said the M word, meta-search, right? Talk us through exactly what that is and how you guys employ that so strategically.
Yeah, so Craig and I have been preparing for a presentation we're giving tomorrow, and really the purpose...
At eTourism Summit.
At eTourism Summit.
Nice tie-in there.
And we're excited to do so because I feel like there's a lot of education needing to happen in the space as to like what meta search is. And we often still get referred to as an OTA, which is an online travel agency, and we don't really operate as the merchant of record ever. So what a meta search company does is we're an aggregator. So we're really helping the user based on their search, whatever they're dynamically searching for, get an understanding across all of the suppliers, whether it be airlines, hotels, as well as the online travel agencies that we work very closely with, to understand what can I see here, what are the options to make the most confident booking decision, and we try and help them as much as possible in that capacity. And by virtue of that, we're a huge referral source for the online travel agencies and have different touch points within that path to purchase.
So in that spot there, and I've always found that relationship very interesting, your relationship with the OTAs, right? And I could see where there might be a level of, for lack of a better description, frenemies going on there, right? Because and in the search space, do you guys compete? Do you compete for that? You must, because when the search happens, the results are, it's let's see who comes in first and who gets the click, and is going to be you guys in a handoff to OTA or OTA first. Talk me through that a little bit. What is that relationship like? Is it frenemies?
Yeah, I mean, we have a really strong SEO team, which is very helpful in driving organic traffic. But when it comes to search engine marketing, it's sort of, I don't want to describe it as the wild, wild west, but it's like eat or be eaten.
Yeah.
And our job is to try and support the brand, help offer value to the users that want to interact with the opportunities we're helping them explore the globe with. And if we can help them do that through our partners, we're all happy, hopefully, but they're obviously looking for direct traffic as well, and that's a primary goal for them too.
Yeah, and it seems also it's almost a food chain kind of a thing, because a lot of the bigger brands like the Marriotts are wanting that direct traffic as well, right? Outside the OTAs, outside Kayak, right? Mm-hmm. So it comes kind of like a cascade of competition for that click.
Yeah, we get to play in like a little bit of a sweet spot, because even if we're getting that initial piece of traffic as it relates to a brand like Marriott, they're not having to pay a commission on the booking per se. So they're, they are paying a commission on the booking, but they're not paying a inventory fee.
Gotcha.
So they're really being able to get the benefit for when they're seeing success. And outside of that, really understanding how they can utilize different distribution channels to do it a bit differently.
And when we get the click, everyone still kind of wins at the end of the day, because we are agnostic across the brand. So just because we got the initial click, all the content's still there.
I got you.
So there's still a really big benefit to us winning that click, because the other brands are still going to have a piece of that puzzle once someone's on Kayak.
I find booking interesting as well, because when it seems like, hey, total refundable, no obligation, or breakfast included. It seems like you have these little lagniappes, things you can throw in there that the chains and the OTAs really don't have that ability to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we're working on a loyalty program.
Okay.
We're trying to work across brands as much as possible. Glenn Fogel, the CEO of Booking Holdings, has historically talked about this connected trip, and I think that saw some pausing during the whole pandemic as we had to shift priorities. But there's a lot of crossover, as you're referencing right now, as to how we can leverage those unique sort of value adds.
And we can now have the open table dining points that people are getting can now be leveraged on Kayak as well. So you can get points or use your points
so
for
like American
hotel
Express points, right? You can use them for any purchase.
Exactly. It just kind of rounds out that the traveler journey, because if you're on open table, why not use that for a discount on a hotel?
Gotcha. You've got something in the works right now. You have an announcement coming up of something, studio of some kind?
Yeah, so we have historically worked with all sorts of advertisers, but over the last 4 or 5 years have worked with a lot of destination marketers, and a lot of the products and offerings that we have against the audiences that we're able to offer have largely been direct response type products. And we're understanding how inspiration and content really needs to be a part of the fold to help drive that full funnel approach. So we've built an in-house agency called K Media, and it's an opportunity for destinations where they want to align more closely with our brand, or maybe they don't even have the resources internally.
Or just to help tell their story across other platforms.
Exactly. Right? So as it relates to video, we are just wrapping a campaign up with Travel Oregon. We're sending influencers to all 7 regions in Oregon. And it's just like a really nice way to help tie it in together in a way that we're helping people understand what there is to do in that area.
it's experiential. I think our challenge all the time, particularly when it comes to SEO and SEM and booking and fighting for that click, is at the end of the day, people want experiences, right? And anything we can do to inform that experience, to help the critical path to purchase, give them at the end of the day more information about that experience, and let's face it, and a good rate, right? Because that's what they're doing. Any changes, any major changes you've seen in the COVID era in terms of booking in general? We're seeing much shorter booking windows. Are we seeing greater amounts of research? What can you just give us some big takeaways?
Yeah, I could start off, and if Craig wants to chime in, he's I have a plug for him. He's also our Las Vegas market manager, so it's a great place to be, here in Las Vegas, and really happy they're able to host such a beautiful event. So that's our little plug for Thinking Vegas. But the pandemic, yes, we're seeing the research phase be a lot longer. That actual purchase and decision-making point is happening a lot quicker. We just pulled some recent data as of today, and we're seeing like the 61 to 90-day window for days to arrival increase substantially as people are starting to prepare and feel comfortable knowing that they're...
I thought 61, that even seems long to me.
Well, the holidays are coming around, so
it's
time to understand, are you going to go visit your family? Where are you going with your friends? And from a length of stay standpoint, the 0 to 3 day, is what we see the most activity in, but that 4 to 14 day window, as people are looking to get away when it's super cold and they want to, hit the waves.
They've just had enough.
Yeah.
It's called February, I think, right there, or something like that.
And with so many people working remote, we're also seeing just like that length of stay, like for some people be able to expand more than it did in the past, because everyone was going back to their office, everyone had to report back in, but now with remote work being such like a prominent thing across so many industries, there's the ability to rent something or stay somewhere for a longer period of time, as long as you got that good Wi-Fi.
Craig doesn't have to deal with winter. He lives in Miami.
That's true. February is a great month.
I feel you on that. You guys know better than anybody, we had some great news yesterday about the opening up of the USA basically on the 1st of November. What is that going to do? Just on a very, again, 30,000 foot level, I always, and I could be wrong, I always envision historically booking always seemed more of an international platform to me than it was domestic American. Is that even true? And how do you bifurcate any of those advertising outreaches?
Yeah, not speaking so much to booking because it's not necessarily my wheelhouse, but yes, they are.
Or Kayak.
Booking in general is definitely strong in Europe, and they're making a lot of inroads in the States. Kayak, their main locale is the United States, although we're strong in a lot of regions globally. What we're seeing is that just like announcement off the bat, we see searches increase pretty dramatically within the week after, because people are just sort of waiting to see when they can go. And what's interesting on the dining side at OpenTable, we're seeing that pick up so much quicker because the days to arrival, you're not booking a restaurant 2 weeks out unless you're a really good planner.
Right.
So we're seeing,
or unless it's one of those restaurants that you need.
That's true. And we have a lot of those on site working with Michelin restaurants, but we see that uptick in bookings on OpenTable much quicker.
Interesting. Again, how you can use those cross data points. If you can see a stimulation in a certain market on one of those platforms, it might lead to the others. Wow, that's fascinating. Well, guys, thanks for being here, and thanks for the chit-chat in our post-ETS lounge here. It's very interesting that we're going to be at another IPW in June already, in Orlando. I think the tenor and the mood in that one is going to be, we hope, exponentially different and greater, and we'll have our international community back, and we will have hopefully something, whatever our normal is, forward from there. But thanks to you for your information and for coming by. And again, Daniel and Craig with Kayak, and we are here at eTourism Summit in Las Vegas 2021. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having us.